Hello, I'm Manish, working as assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering in Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. So, the course we are seeing is about infrastructure development. In that, the topic we are going to cover is about rural infrastructure. So, about rural infrastructure. So, what rural India looks like today. So, that is the scenario where we are going to start. So, it has 71 percentage of Indians live in rural areas, and then 89 percentage have no access to telephone, and 52 percentage do not have access to power, and remaining is 10 percentage have no access to drinking water, and 91 percentage have no access to toilet facilities, uh, and average distance to all weather roads is 2 kilometers, and then the last is 244 million rural people are poor, so compared to 80 million urban poor. So this is the scenario where the rural infrastructure about India. So these are the access, the infrastructure where there is no proper access to telephone, power, drinking water, toilet facilities, and the all-weather road access to all-weather roads are some restrictions are there for the rural people. So we can see nearly 71 percentage live in rural areas. So that is a majority of population living in a rural area in India. So can infrastructure help the rural poor? So that is the question here we are asking. So if there is development in the infrastructure, no, in the rural area with the infrastructure, will it have any impact? So that is what this researchers have find. So here several studies, that is example Songo, Dicham et al and Roller et al shows that infrastructure is indeed correlated to economic growth in rural area also. So you can see the importance of infrastructure in the rural area also. So with this research and studies, example Berry et al also shows that low per capita income correlated with lack of infrastructure. Okay, so where there is a correlation of per capita income for economical growth, it also impacts uh, the development. Okay, so therefore infrastructure which can be uh, driver of rural growth is often not available in rural areas. So that is what the impact of infrastructure on the rural poor. Okay, so next is how can infrastructure help. Okay, so finding from a survey in Nigeria indicate that infrastructure rural area can increase employment and income, as well as increase efficiency and productivity. So from this study finding in Nigeria, so the employment will also increase and the income level for the people in rural will also increase. So, and it also increase the efficiency and productivity if there is proper infrastructure where if there is proper infrastructure, for example proper road, they can travel in a without wasting their time, which can be efficient, and the productivity for if they are working in a factory, it will be very efficient. Okay, the productivity also increases. For here, for instance, time saved due to improved transportation, as I have told. So due to improved transportation in infrastructure can be used on other activities. Okay, like increase access to resources. So resources can be accessed, as an example they giving. So improve health and therefore productivity. So more amount of time is not required for transportation if there is a proper access to the area, or the where they need to access the location. Okay, and then the last is, for instance, if water supply is augmented, water related health health diseases can be reduced. In the previous topics also, we have seen waterborne diseases can impact the income of the people, where medication or medical related issues will be very expensive, that can be saved, okay, through the reduction in waterborne diseases. So here, is there any empirical evidence to supply these proportions? Okay, so provision of water and irrigation infrastructure in rural area of India and Bangladesh has improved productivity, increased income and saving. So this will be taken from the government data, whether it is giving any productivity and increasing income and savings. Okay, so that is the question asked, and we are finding the answer. So water sanitation infrastructure in rural Thailand has led to more jobs, better health, increased school attendance, tourism benefits. So these are all the basic things that we see daily. So more jobs will be available if there is a proper infrastructure development. Better health will be there. Increased school attendance. That's a basic education level. If there is a proper transportation or road base, and then the last is tourism benefits, where the income can be increased. So more evidence are given here. Roads in rural Vietnam, Ghana, Morocco have led to these factors. First is increased income, as middlemen are cut off and farmers can transport the uh, no, produce directly to the uh, market, okay, or produce the product that they have developed to the market. Okay, so there won't be any middlemen or for cutting their prices, or they can access the income that they have invested. Okay, so that is one of the major thing which increases the income. So if they are having proper transportation or access to all weather road, they can produce their goods easily and get the income. And then the that is we are seeing as an evidence from Vietnam, Ghana and Morocco. So, and then the second is change in crop pattern leading to more income. Okay, so crop pattern, as an example, they can access these kind of knowledge if there is proper infrastructure. So earlier, here they're telling perishable crops could not be grown as transportation time was large. Okay, so here, if there is proper transportation, earlier transportation of goods, the decaying or wastage of crops can be reduced, so they can invest use money in the perishable crops, which is very expensive, or they can yield more money to the uh, farmers or the employees. So now these crops could also be added. So that is one fact they're telling. So as these countries are really good in uh, farming. So, and then the third, they're telling lot of secondary benefits such as health, national pride, growth in secondary industries. So these are some underlying facts. And then the last, they're telling there is therefore enough evidence to show that infrastructure does indeed promote growth. Okay, so we have asked for an evidence. It is showing that clearly that infrastructure gives indeed a promotional growth. So issues unique to rural area. So we are finding the first one, the issues related to rural area. The first point is rural population density is very less. So that's a simple thing. If the population is less, uh, obviously less fund will be invested towards that rural population, as more number of benefit people will be less. Okay, so here we can see 15.7 times lower than urban area in the case of India. So as I've told here, the reduction in the population. So as a result, economics of scale cannot work in rural areas. So there won't be any direct influence in the economical growth. It will be progressive, slow progressive will be there. Since the fixed cost or cost of installation are very high, the variable cost or cost per users are quite low. Okay. So for instance, since there are few telecom users who are spread very far apart, many more telecommunication towers will be needed. Okay, that's a simple or thing which we face regularly. Like if we travel or in a rural area, those difficulty may be faced as there will be less telecommunication towers. Not like in a urban area where there is more telecommunication towers. There will be proper transmitting towers where you will have proper signal. So that is one disadvantage, as population is less and the benefited people are less, and the cost of no expensive the cost will be very expensive, as it is a rural area that it has to be transported, goods to be transported, and then people usage of people will be less. So the lower number of users are the issues. And then second year issues unique to rural area. Second is population size in the rural area is low. So that we have seen more than 20 times lower than urban area in India context. Okay, so more than 20% uh, in the Indian situation. But uh, but if you're comparing it in a scalar range, you can see in cities the areas very less, but the denser the population will be. But when you go for a rural area, it will be an opposite. The density of population will be less in a rural area. Okay, so due to this reason also, economics of scale cannot work in rural area. So as I've told, scalar level, since although the fixed cost or the cost of installation can be low, due to lesser infrastructure that needs to be installed. Okay, the variable cost or cost per user are also quite low. So these are some of the reasons. To take the telecommunication example again, one would need to install only a few towers. Okay, due to small population size, by variable cost, uh, our lower users are not many, and therefore revenue will not be much. Okay, so the third is purchasing power is also low. Okay, so in days of real per capita consumption by fractile group, here we can see urban as well as rural comparison of per year they are given. Okay, from 1987 to 2002, progressive year, and then the consumption level. Okay, so here we can see urban tops to 20 percentage in the uh, we can see different sectors. Okay, they have pointed out the different sectors in rectangular, triangular, circular way. You can see the difference in the consumption. Okay, so these data can be accessed in government websites. So here another categorization of rural infrastructure out there, categorizing the rural infrastructure. So here on the left hand side, or the first column, we can see the scale economics, initial investment, recurring expenditure, willingness to pay. So these are some of the facts, and directly they are underlying with the health, education, energy, water and sanitation, IT, telecom, road, irrigation, etc. So here scale economics relating to health is very low, and same for education, moderate to high for energy, water and sanitation moderate, IT communication very high, and road and irrigation are very high. So same factor for initial investment are moderate for health and education. Education it is low, energy it is from moderate to high. So this is the investment or the infrastructure development required, the fund that is very required. Okay, so when it is coming to IT, telecommunication, roads and irrigation, they are requiring more initial investment. Scalar economics are high, so that is why the initial investment will be high compared to that of urban area. So, and the third is recurring expenditure, so moderate to low for health and education. For energy, water and sanitation, high to moderate, and IT, telecom, roads and irrigation, it comes to moderate to low. So willingness to pay. So comparing with the people, that directly they're going to use. So health is very high. Education, it is moderate to high. Energy, where they are going to consume a lot. So water and sanitation, I and IT, telecom, no, roads, irrigation. So moderate, nil, I. So that is the uh, you know categorization of rural infrastructure. So the source is taken from the computer by the author, can access that from the website. So willingness to pay. So the previous two slide indicate that purchasing power of rural no, power of rural power is also quite low due to reduced income. So there is a very reduced income or less income for the people, as they are not willing to pay. So in many cases, it is as much as 3 times lesser than in urban area. So as the cost of living might be less, but similarly the income is also very less. So however, as the previous table table taken from Indian infrastructure report shows, this does not imply that poor are not willing to pay for infrastructure. They will able to pay up to their income capacity. So they need to have the capacity to pay for these direct influencing infrastructure, so that how they can pay if their income is very similar to the amount they are going to spend. Okay, so also there are some rural infrastructure sectors where scale economics exist, and others where so investment costs are low. So what are the implications of these finding? We need to look for local solution in urban areas and larger network big solution. So these are some of the solution which can be redeem the low income people, helping them to increase the infrastructure. So that is the local solution has to be followed, so that there is no direct or huge amount is invested for these projects, infrastructure projects in the rural. So there has to be a network based solution. So here they're telling septic tank, mobile phone, local power generation, etc., will work better in rural areas, give the scale of investment and use. So these are some of the uh, you know uh, p- will give work better in rural area. So these are some of the ideas. Okay, so secondly, sanitation and treatment plants, phone lines and power grids might not work since the cost might outweigh the demand. Okay, so according to the demand, they are preferring the uh, ideas or the project. Okay, so initially we saw the septic tanks. So septic tanks doesn't require any piping connection over the you know uh, it is a localized area, so localized way of sanitation. Mobile phones, so mobile phone, it is very cheap comparing to the uh, the demand. Okay, so local power generation, you can use the wind or water source of energy. So these are some of better utilizing way of the locally available materials or resources. So when it comes to sanitation and treatment plant, it will be very expensive because they need to transport the uh, wastewater, or they need piping connection, which will be very expensive. And phone lines like landline phones or power grids will be very expensive. Okay, so it is with the scalar level, as we have talked. So with the scalar level, it is very waste, as uh, the weightage of that usage is very less. Okay, so subsidized are needed to achieve the break even or investment invested in rural area due to lack of economies of scale and the consumption power. Okay, so subsidized amount, so that the support from the government will increase the usage of these ideas. And microfinance and micro lending can play a part in generating finance for small scale project that will make a difference in rural area. Microfinance, small uh, financial companies, or with the support of NGOs, which can lead in generating the finance. Okay, so finance for the smaller scale projects, which can help in the infrastructure of rural uh, areas. So what is government doing? As we have seen the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act (CAA) has been enacted to empower panchayats. So, Bharat Nirman program has been introduced to provide infrastructure in rural areas. So, with 1,86,900 crores outlay planned in 2006. So, with this, we can have an idea. So, how the distribution of power, so power from the state or the central government to the local bodies, so that the the resources or the money invested can reach the local bodies. So with the Bharat Nirman program, so here other schemes such as Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana for rural roads, so that the accelerated rural water supply program for rural water and sanitation, Rajiv Gandhi Vidya Kranji Yojana for rural electrification, etc., has been introduced. So these are some other schemes or projects developed by the government for each sectors for road, for rural road, accelerated water supply, sanitation, and last is electrification. So these are the some other kind of scheme introduced by the government, and the objective include giving power to 1,25,000 villages. So the objective of these schemes or the project or the program given by the government, so nearly 4,000 crore outlay is planned to connect rural roads. Okay, so universal serve as a continuation, universal service uh, obligation USO exists in the sector to raise fund for rural phone connection. So, as there is a list number of players in the telecommunication, it is really difficult to reach out these things. So, target for rural tele density is 15 percentage or greater, and 8,000 crore outlay has been proposed for this. So, this is the no, so from the 73rd CAA we can find this. So, NREGS, so that is National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, has been floated to provide at least 100 days of guaranteed employment to improve the economic condition of some people in rural area. So 100 days work, this is a really familiar scheme where they are providing fund, or they are supporting the rural people with giving simple employment where they can support, okay, for their daily living. And Pura scheme has been floated to provide urban amenities in rural area, and rural infrastructure development from RIDF has been set up by NABARD to turn up 60,000 crores. So that is an agriculture body where they're supporting a rural infrastructure development fund. They're providing the fund for the rural area. So we have seen about Bharat Nirman program. So outlay of Bharat Nirman program from 2005 to 2009. So here we can see the sector, what are the sectors here, and the target of by 2009 required investment of by the government, or and the next is present status, no, dispersal and financing and implementing agencies. So from this outlay, we can find the Bharat Nirman program, what it has been, the scheme, how they are going to implement the scheme, and what is the stage before implementing the scheme. Okay. So here we can see irrigation, rural housing, rural electricity, rural telecom, rural roads, rural drinking water. So these are basic amenities, or so basic need for the development in infrastructure. We can see the target of 10 million hectares for the irrigation, 6 million houses for rural housing, 1 lakh to 25,000 villages and 23 million households. So rural telecom is having 66,829 telecommunication and habitation for rural roads. So that is near to the habitation is of 66,822 kilometers. And then the last is the rural drinking water having 55,067 habitation access to rural drinking water. And then that is the target given by 2009, which is started on 2005 as a Bharat Nirman program. Required investment, we can see three major investment were done for 451 crores for rural telecom and 40,000 crore for the rural roads, and rural drinking is 4,050 crores. So, and present status they given here and disposal and financial, how they are getting the financial support and implementing agencies, not only the government agencies, but given by the state governments. Okay, supporting by the state government or the public private sectors for these improvement. And then the next is 5-year plan target. First is irrigation, rural development, rural housing, rural water supply, rural electrification, rural telephone. So this is given by the 5-year plan, that is from 2005 to 2010, 2007 to 2011. Okay, from that we can access this 5-year plan target. Uh, so to for irrigation to create a 10 million hectares of additional irrigation capacity for rural roads to connect all habitation with population above 10,000 with all weather roads. So this is talking about all weather road, not a normal paved road. So for rural housing to construct 60 lakhs houses for rural poor, and next is rural water supply to provide potable water to all uncovered habitation, and also address slipped back and water quality affected habitation. Rural electrification to provide electricity to all unelectrified villages. That is, they have mentioned uh, the strength, how much they are required. So in bracket, and to connect 23 million household before the poverty line. And then the last is rural telephony to connect all remaining villages with a public telephone. So these are some of the target plan for the 5-year plan uh, for the rural sectors, and they have given the number of benefits, beneficiaries that is going to be directly influenced here. Okay, so as the conclusion, so uh, the government role. Okay, so previously two slides taken from Indian infrastructure report and approach paper to the 11th 5-year plan indicates other programs and targets set by the government to improve rural infrastructure and government. So that is what, and the last is overall, there is no breadth of policies from the government to improve rural infrastructure. The key issue is how well these policies are implemented. Okay, so that is what we can see as overall conclusion. We can see that one of the major thing is about the population, where comparing to urban or rural, the rural has less population and the investment amount is very less, as the population is less, or the people who are going to be directly benefited is very less, and the economical growth by the rural development is very less. Okay, so that is the major issues here. And then potential ways to raise fund for rural infrastructure. So these are some of the potential ways to raise the fund. One is central government grants from the central government to the state level, and microfinancial institution and NGOs, as I've told, microfinancing and NGOs coming together, initiating plans to help the uh, rural area people, or supporting or developing the supporting fund. Okay, so they, so that they can increase their income. So multilateral bank loan, so and communicating no, pooling of resources, commercial bank loan. So you can see they are majorly relying on the source of fund. Okay, so where they can directly uh, help the uh, urban area for the development or increase the income of the rural people. Okay, so that is the major thing of getting the funds, how they can get the funds with the help of these financial group, state or central, microfinance and NGO, multilateral banks, communicating pool, or resources commercial bank. Even though these funds can be raised, but the people has to be aware of these loans or funds, how to get access to the funds. So they need to be educated, or they need to be exposed to this level of uh, funds. So, as there are other options other than government spending for rural infrastructure, so private partnership, uh, PPP, so public partner, no, public-private partnership. Evidence from Chile, Argentina suggests that the private sector could play a role in these rural sectors. So, what advantage does privatization provide? So, provide efficiency, allocating efficiency, dynamic efficiency. With these private sector, the private sector will also have projects, they will have employment, as well as they can directly help the development of a rural. So then the last is, will it work in a rural area? It is possible. So under certain circumstances it may work. So what modification needed to made in existing arrangement for foster private participation? So this is what about subsidies. Okay, so Garmi and Noriel, that is 1955, defined the following rule. Okay, changed a role of government. So attractive private participation, assure rate of return, ensure customer satisfaction. So that is the government role that has to be changed. And here new government intervention, so set price, encourage no, completion, and conflict resolution. So these are some of the studies. What about subsidies? Okay, so features of new partnership models for infrastructure to government. So government grants and subsidies should be provided up for economical efficiency. Encouragement of private sectors to provide rural infrastructure. Taxes and collection of user fee to finance the infrastructure. Commercial participation to create shared sense of ownership. Community resource pooling. NGO involvement. And then the last is the figure in the next slide. So that's we'll see. So here, how is this discussion different if we could of an urban content? So poor people exist in urban content also. So this is about the urban features. So with this, we can see the importance of the rural infrastructure development that need to be implemented for the growth the of a nation. Okay, so thank you for this session. Thank you.